As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
One of the worst performances of my career, and they never doubted it for a second.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
I believe there's a hero in all of us that keeps us honest, gives us strength, makes us noble.
You just gotta keep living, man. Livin.
Son of a bitch.
He stole my life.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Welcome back to the Shot by Shot podcast. Today we're going to be talking about a film that has been at the top of my most anticipated list for about 3 years now, and that is James Cameron's 9th feature film. Technically he's 10th if you're counting some films, and the third film in the Avatar series, Avatar Fire and Ash, which is on track to be one of the biggest movies of the year. It is, I think, my favourite of the year. I've now seen it twice in IMAX 3D and Dolby 3D, the way that James Cameron wanted it to be seen. I obviously loved it. I'm a massive Avatar super fan. We've got a good spectrum of different opinions here, but I love hanging out with my good friends Jake Sully, Nathiri, Paya Khan, all the gang here. So I really loved it. But I'm gonna have it over to Daniel first because I don't want to go straight into the negativity of Oscar.
Yeah, I don't
What
know
did you
what
think of Avatar?
I don't know what my overall opinions are on Avatar, to be honest. This is the first one I've seen in the cinema, so I'm approaching this from a bit of a different perspective. I didn't watch Avatar 1 until about 2 years ago. My opinion of the Avatar films is I like 1. I don't really like Way of the Water, but I do like this one, so it's a bit random. But obviously the 3D in the cinema helps a lot. I've never experienced it, and I can see why if you grew up watching Avatar and that a developing brain seeing Avatar in the cinema in 3D, that'd mess me up in a good way, I think. This is my favorite Avatar film, nowhere near my favorite of the year. My highest rated Avatar films are both 3.5, so I'm in the middle of the spectrum. I'm not a super fan, but I can appreciate these films. Way of the Water probably would be better in my mind if I saw that in the cinema, but I ended up skipping it because I was still in I'm not watching Avatar contrarian mode when that came out. But no, I love Pandora as a setting. I'm still not that sold on the Na'vi themselves, to be honest. But I won't go into it just yet. But what really elevates the film for me this time round and why it's my favorite are the dynamics between the villains. Quaritch is just getting better in every film. I think I love his line deliveries and stuff. And then when you pair him with Varang, who I pledge allegiance to Varang. I love her in this, and I love that she's going to be hopefully major play in the next little trilogy we get. So yeah, no, I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like on paper this should work, but I know people have been saying about the similarities to Way of Water. I think Way of Water is by far the best of the three. And I think it's truly aided by that, what was it, 13, 14-year gap from the first, sorry.
Yeah.
And I think thematically Fire and Ash does stand on its own, but I think I'm too bummed out by the last act being so similar to the Way of Water that I think it kind of ruins its momentum, which is my biggest kind of critique of the film. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I did IMAX 3D for the first time. I've done 3D before. I did it for the last one on my second watch. I hadn't done IMAX 3D before. For the first 5 minutes, there was no 3D in our screening, so they had to restart the film.
I was fully aware because I got the Avengers Doomsday trailer in 3D and it looked atrocious.
No. Guess what? We had the Mandalorian Grogu trailer and Avengers trailer in 3D, and yet our 3D still didn't work at the start of the thing. It just broke for some reason, but we got it. We got there eventually. But yeah, I think I don't know if I prefer older Cameron. He's become Avatar was obviously is a very hyper realistic thing. Everything is about the really fine details. And how much we can see in the physics of this world. And I don't know, after Way of Water, I think it's becoming a bit boring, and I kind of want him to, like imagery wise. I want him to do something different before Avatar 4. I said in my review, the tangibility of his images I think are slowly starting to fade. Even though there's some breathtaking sequences in here, don't get me wrong. Um, but I don't know. I appreciate this film on a more scene to scene basis rather than as a whole. There's generally some really good moments in this film, but as a whole, I don't know. I agree with Daniel. I think the villain dynamic definitely improved this. Varang is really phenomenal. Um, Una Chaplin, is a great granddaughter of Charlie Chaplin, is she? Or just granddaughter? Really cool. Yeah, she was phenomenal. But yeah, not. I'm a bit middle of the road on this, but yeah, I think this is my least favorite entry of the three.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think I'd maybe agree with it. It's maybe my third ranking in the Avatar franchise. It's kind of hard to disagree with what you're saying because I did think it was a bit. I don't think it's messy because I generally think like the first time I watched this, like the first 2 hours were genuinely pretty consistent with the wave water as it is just like a continuation of it. I don't agree with the fact that it's like the wave water like redone because I just don't
Mm.
really understand where the
I think
that's
it's
coming
more
from.
wave water narratively redone rather than thematically redone. I think that is what I have the issue with.
I saw people saying that this seemed like the actual second film, and Way of the Water felt
That's
like.
that's what I've seen as well. Because did I hear somewhere that this was written before Way of Water? And I swear I saw
Well,
It
that.
it's
was
just
originally one film, and
yeah.
at some point he decided
Oh,
to split it into two.
that's
Yeah,
interesting. That's really interesting.
that was obviously like 12 years ago, probably. Like,
Yeah. But I think it's also interesting that I don't know. They said that the fourth one is going to be like this 8 year time jump, and like this is like the end of the saga. But like the ending to this one is kind of bad, and I didn't really get that feeling from that. It's kind of anticlimactic. That doesn't in a way that doesn't scream. We're making a film. The next one's going to be set 8 years later. Yeah, it's an interesting one.
but that was actually my problem because I think it does set up the fact that well, it doesn't say about time jump, but like I think it does more set up
Mm,
for than like there was a lot of hype about this being like the
yeah,
closing like
exactly.
conclusion of almost like the Jake Sully like arc and
Mm,
everything in like the family, and I expected
mm,
something more conclusive about that. And so I do agree that the ending can feel anticlimactic, and there are still some arcs that I agree will feel anticlimactic if like somehow the fourth wasn't made. Um,
mm,
I do. I like the idea of possibly what's going to happen with the decisions that he makes with the end. I don't want to go into spoilers quite yet, but it could pay off in the future. But I can argue with the fact that it does feel slightly anticlimactic because I did feel that in my first watch. It did kind of click more in my second, and we'll get into that
mm,
because my second watch was much better. I feel like the pacing is much better on rewatch. You can kind of see where all the different subplots like click together because I think on the first watch you kind of feel like the subplots aren't really connected and it's almost jumping about a bit, but the pacing is much better
mm,
once you're kind of seeing where it's all connecting thematically. And I think it all comes together in that battle quite well. I mean, it is like there's stuff that's in Way of Water. Oh, we won't get into spoilers yet, but unless you want to go and jump into that section right now.
I'm fine with doing that.
I'm fine with doing that. Makes it easier.
Yeah. Um, so the end of Way Water is like well, I think the end of the Way Water is like the greatest like third act like ever. Honestly, like in sci-fi, yeah, I love the third act of that. But this is like that times 10, and there's like things
Yeah.
that happen, and then there's like a whale that jumps on the like pie
Mm,
can, and like the elder whales jump on ships, they explode. Um, it's like a mashup of like one and two, like the end with like
mm,
Awa comes in with like flying creatures and sea creatures to save the day. But I feel like it is on like a 10 times scale. Like it really can't really even be compared to the Wave Water because the ship that like is the main centerpiece of the whole third act of Wave Water gets destroyed in like the first 2 minutes of this, and it's just
Yeah.
like completely different. It's like
Mm.
I kind of see where people are getting at it because it's like not a completely different location apart from like the vortex like magnetic field thing, but like it is in like the kind of Wave Water like areas that we've
Mm.
already seen.
Mm. I kind of agree, but I wish they'd done more outside of that ship sequences. I think is where I kind of feel left dry. I feel like they don't utilize that kind of that magnetic area in those rocks to enough effect. I'm kind of like, oh, we're just ending. And
Mm.
going into spoilers, but Quaritch's death is kind of, well, I guess I'm guessing he's dead.
But it's
Um,
not a death.
He's not dead.
is yeah, he's
It's not
not,
dead.
but
I didn't even think they
that
were trying
moment,
to hint that it was dead from when I saw it. There was
yeah.
like no impact to it.
Yeah, he's not dead, but in fact, I think even in the there's the Avatar game, the DLC is like set like 2 weeks after this, and I think he's alive in that. But I think they did kind of set up in the DLC that or
What's
not,
the
and
point?
it kind yeah. I don't think it's not really playing him as dead. Like surely nobody believes that he
I
died
didn't
in
get
that.
that
But like
impression
it was
at all.
like if we don't get to make the fourth one, then like you can kind of use it as his death.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still feel like that's almost a bit of a cop out anyway. From his character standpoint, just having him like keep on getting reborn or whatever, or just um. But I think the thing is with I find with Avatar is, especially with Avatar, and this is even the slightest hint of similarities between films, or if it becomes derivative of itself, I feel like has a bigger impact on Avatar films compared to like general other Hollywood stuff. Because it immediately loses this kind of the wow factor that I think that's why the Way of Water is my favorite, genuinely because of that time jump and I'm not saying Way of Water is a tech demo, but I think it utilizes its jump in technology with its storytelling better than Fire and Ash does, but also because Way of Water came first, and I don't think there's enough difference between those films. I'm not saying it's exactly different. That's not necessarily true, but I don't think they separate themselves enough for me to be satisfied with what happens in Fire and Ash. And yeah, I think that's my overall qualms.
For me, this is like a film of moments more than like grand narrative
I
arcs
agree.
because that's what separates it for me from the other ones. I'll try and think some. Obviously, there's the kamikaze Ash guy. That's like
That's really good.
I love little like using new environment and stuff like that. That's so cool. The traders themselves with the jellyfish. That's really cool. One of my favourite and funniest scenes is Quaritch walking into the military base covered in makeup from
Hate.
because he's got like that ongoing
So
arc
good.
where Jake Sully's trying to like tempt him into opening his like eyes as a Navi, and I liked where that was going.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not like sold on his dynamic with Spider, but Spider's like a character that we can get into because a lot of people have like quite strong opinions on him as a character. And I really like the scene where Varang like looks at the sniper's scope like dead on.
Mm.
That's really cool, and
Oh
their
yeah.
whole power play dynamic in that tent is like an amazing scene. So yeah, all those little character interactions between the villains, as I said earlier, is what really separates it for me because Quaritch is a really good villain. I think he's getting stronger on each film.
Mm.
But adding that like wild card into it benefited it really well. I think.
I think Cameron. I agree. Like I said earlier, I think this is better on a scene-to-scene basis than it is as an overall piece. And those like moments of shock, like things you just don't really see in blockbusters like that kamikaze scene, was phenomenal. Like I was stunned in that bit. That was really good, and to have that as that introductory bit, I thought it was really good. Um, and the drug scene as well, all the hallucinatory stuff, a lot more kind of poking at the ideas of sexual violence in this, and Varane kind of builds her character around that. And it is interesting. I don't know. Quaritch he's definitely better in this film. I think he can be kind of boring sometimes. But I think that the side of Varane kind of brings out a better part of his character in this film. Yeah, I just don't just the way it was handled at the end. I don't know. It wasn't. It didn't quite come together for me. But I think that the shots where you have like the overlay of the sniper in 3D was really cool. I think that was one of my favorite parts. That was really really good. And I think my favorite shot of the film, I know I mentioned this, but when in the final act, when the Ash Clan join the fight, and they just like fly in front of the sun setting in the background. That's one of the best bits to me. I got
it's the best
then.
score bits as well. Is the fire and Ash Clan coming in? Yeah,
Um,
I agree. The villains are like he did kind of take a level up with the villains. I think Quaritch in like 2 is amazing. That kind of like relationship where he's like a clone of a guy that like hated what he's now becoming. I think that's really interesting. But he does kind of like Stephen Lang's performance in this is like I think is genuinely like amazing. Um, and that kind of connection with Varang that you were saying is like does take his character up a little bit. I really like how like Wainfleet is like his like side guy as well, just like slowly like falling out of love with him as he like gets in with Varang. And I wish they took that side plot somewhere because he kind of just disappears eventually because he's kind of like in the background like disagreeing with Quaritch. He's the one that like is the sniper, and yeah, I love that like moment when she looks at him like in the distance, even though he's in like camouflage somewhere and like getting a hideout, and she's just like dead eyeing him. I really love those sniper scenes you were talking about. Like it's I know people are saying this is like a video game at times is like a slander, but that really is like a video game moment where like you've got the FOV, but it's really cool. Like he's doing it on purpose. I think is like a video game kind of. It's kind of like the stuff that's in Dune 2. That's what it reminded me of. When it was like a POV of like a sniper.
oh
I think that was
yeah,
really well done.
it was. Yeah, going back to the video game stuff, just it's so jarring the on and off between the high frame rates and not. I felt it more than I did in the others, but the way it does, but I think it's worse because it's little and often. It's literally between such quick shots that I just it completely takes me out of it. And there's a the moment where it's the Wind Traders and Jake jumps off one and like starts to slide down and like the bit where he slides down like that's the most like video game cutscene thing I've ever seen in my life. And it just puts me off. I don't know, man. It really does. I don't know how you felt, Daniel.
Yeah,
I don't get the video game slander thing. I've never. I like slandering
Do you
Avatar every
not
now and then,
feel
but
it?
I I sort of feel it, but it doesn't like bother me because it's so ridiculous. And if you see the conditions like they're filming this in with the actors, which by the way, it's like incredibly impressive performances they give when you
it
watch
blows
them.
my
Like,
mind how they film
The-
these. I don't
um,
understand how it works.
yeah.
so yeah, I don't know. The video game thing doesn't really bother me. The only thing I can say, and this is a big spoiler, at the end, was Sigourney Weaver stood with all the
Oh my goodness. Oh, I
it,
didn't
that,
like that.
that's the only shot in
Yeah,
any Avatar film I've seen
That's
before
so
that's bad.
jarring.
It looks so weird, and to like end the film on that, like I don't know, that was really weird to me. I don't know what you thought about it.
yeah. They
It
should
was,
have ended the film on the face that they always do in the first
I,
two ones.
yeah, I think that
Yeah.
Spider like doesn't look that bad next to them all. If anything, he looks more animated than they do sometimes because of like
Yeah.
how weird it is. But yeah, no, the
Mm.
like glowing Sigourney Weaver in the in that they were like they were so
I'd
awesome.
actually forgotten about that. It's really bad. But then also Cameron goes like full 2001 Ewa
Yes,
reveal. I just thought of the 2001 baby like immediately when I saw that. It's kind of cool to
so
be fair. Which is interesting. Not what I expected actually, but it was definitely something. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of compared this. I think this is like the GTA of the film industry. These films, they're like they're so obsessed with like obviously GTA 6, like we've seen the gameplay and it's insane, like the realisticness, and they're so dedicated to these minute details, the hyper realism that I think you just reach a point where it becomes, like I said, it becomes kind of redundant and boring, and maybe more so for GTA because it actually is real life, and maybe there's a bit more Cameron can do with this world and things like that. But I don't know, the smoothness of the lack of texture in his imagery is I don't know if I can take another one, to be honest. Like maybe if we're starting to do something different narratively, then maybe we might get somewhere. But I don't know. I think the whole
I find it crazy you say there's no tangibility to images. Like there's like
it's
times
not.
I'm like, there's no way that's a CGI. Like there's like guy in there like painted blue and they've like filmed
I
it.
know,
And, like,
I know you can like reach out, but like in the 3D sense of things, and the I guess the realism. But I think I'm talking about, like, I guess like the smoothness. Like there's no grain to
uh,
anything. Everything is
yeah, I
so
get what you
slick.
mean because like I hate it in like what he's doing with his older movies and like trying to remove the grain. But like I don't
Yeah,
mind
I
it in
hate that.
Avatar where it's like a modern like movie and he's just kind of embracing that.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, Cameron's a very literal filmmaker. He doesn't really do like I guess ambiguity or subtext. He likes to be very direct, and I think a literal filmmaker and like a hyper realist world just is like a crazy pairing in the sense that is I guess is what he loves. But I don't know it can spiral out of control. I think. But I guess that's just kind of my feelings towards that kind of filmmaking. But yeah, I don't know. Just felt uh, uh, lazy in parts. But yeah, I don't know. What was your guys' favorite scene actually?
Mine probably was the Varang like drug scene with Quaritch. I don't know.
Mm.
That's their like dynamic and a really intimate moment, and like the faces Quaritch is pulling, and the that to be fair, Varang's backstory is quite interesting. Like the justification for not wanting to like worship Awa and being like that being a main part of her character is being so against her as like a goddess. I was hoping for maybe a little bit more because I feel like she's decently developed as a threat, but as like an actual character, um, I was wanting a bit more. And then the Ash clan themselves, that they're cool, but they also feel really underdeveloped. Like why are they so committed to her and all that sort of thing? I'd like explaining a little bit more, but
Mm.
yeah, like I said, it's a film of moments more than scenes for me. Which is, but the best moments in this are like really elevate the film for me. I just wish the ending had a bit more impact. Like I said, it was just stupid to me, that final scene. Not stupid
Yeah,
narratively, but stupid.
I don't know. I think as a whole, like to me, like the character conclusions have seen way of water in this. I don't feel much like they've traveled much distance. Um, Cameron kind of seems tied up almost, and I kind of feel like with all the endings of Avatar, I think there's quite a lot of similarities in the sense. I guess it's like a running thing where they end it very similarly, but I I haven't felt like there's been much character development from those points. There's moments, and I think that I said my favorite moment is the film is the scene where Jake is going to kill Spider, and there's a lot of humanity in that, and I think that's one of the best moments for Jake's character in general, out of the entire franchise. But I don't know, when I take a step back, I really don't. Cameron kind of forces his characters into similar conclusions, and yeah, I don't know, it wasn't doing it for me. And obviously, these films are dealing with like colonialism and things like that. You know, Quaritch's character is kind of this imperialist, and all the humans and stuff. And I think it's yeah, there's like this big reveal, and it's like, oh, do you realize that that they won't stop until we're all gone. It's like that was like so obvious from the beginning of the first film. I think it's interesting that it's almost taken Cameron like 3 films to get to this point, and I don't think that like this has never been a key text on the degeneracy of colonialism, but it is kind of funny where he's going with that side of things, and it's fairly simple, but I almost feel like you could do something more with that. I don't know, maybe it's just me.
I don't know. I think that was pretty in the text of Avatar 1, and he kind of wrapped up, and it is kind of like a constant thing as well. I mean, there's difficulty in simplicity, I think, as well. Like, he gets a lot of rap for his writing, but like he is honestly like he's one of the greatest science fiction writers like ever in Hollywood. I think
Yeah,
like his
I don't
catalog
know.
is pretty ridiculous, and
It is
he
pretty
often gets
ridiculous, but
yeah. I think there's a lot of difficulty in creating simple structures and laying stuff out like that the way he does in his movies. And I know he gets a lot of slack for his writing mostly, and I just think it's quite unfair. Um,
interesting.
what was I gonna go
Where do you
to?
stand on Cameron, Daniel? Well, I don't know, like overall.
Um, I probably underrate him compared to most people because I don't love Terminator 1 and 2. Like, I really like them, but I don't love them. Aliens is my favorite that he's done. I really like
Really
Aliens.
interesting.
And Titanic, I've not seen since I was a kid, so I don't even know what I think of
I,
Titanic really.
I,
Titanic's so good.
I would like to rewatch Titanic. I think Terminator 1 and 2 are like they're really good, but I don't hold them as like the top of the top action that
No, I
a
don't.
lot of people do, especially Terminator 2. I do really like it, but I think one's better than two, for me.
No,
And I still think The Abyss is like by far his best
I've
film.
not seen that. That's a blind spot.
I love the best, but like that's wild.
No,
Like,
it's not. It's
I,
so easily his best
I don't know.
film.
It's just like T2 and like Titanic for me are like the things I grew up on. Like they were just like the definition of
I
like
did not
what cinema
grow up
was
with
for
Amazon
growing up. So
Cameron, to
like,
be honest.
and it's not like I don't mean like that they're nostalgia. But, like I think they generally are just like great feats of filmmaking as well. Outside of that, but like they were kind of just like the staples for me growing up. So I do hold them to like a just like a ridiculous standard. And I think T2 is like the greatest action movie ever made. Um,
No.
I love it. I love T1 as well, but like it
If
just doesn't come close.
if we're talking spectacle directors, he's one of the best to ever do it. I love how he. I love Aliens because he like diversified it enough so it's not the same thing again. But he also like the first one's like a survival horror. It's one xenomorph, and I think he does such a good job fleshing out that world that Ridley Scott created and creating
He's
equally
a
iconic.
king of sequels.
Yeah, like equally iconic moments to the first like film that he managed to make, especially the ending of Aliens. But yeah, he's to me he's always been more of a spectacle director than like a guy who's known for like his writing. Like if you're asking me if I want
Yeah,
to watch, if you're reigniting that '80s debate and you're asking me if I want to watch RoboCop or Terminator, I want to watch RoboCop again because I feel like
exactly.
the satire
Interesting.
in that, the Verhoeven's writing in that is like really biting, and they're pretty. Terminator does have better action than RoboCop. I'll give it that, but the brutality of RoboCop mixed with like the writing is why I favor RoboCop over something like that. But
Yeah.
no, like Cameron's like not a turn your brain off guy, but if you want to be like entertained, he's like one of the best directors out there. He's so good at creating like set pieces and spectacles.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know. I feel like
I wouldn't use Terminator 1 as like the argument for why he's a great writer. Like that is like he's like I mean it's his debut. It's like that's
Yeah,
him at like his like lowest budget. It's like basically a B movie that like somehow he kind of like perfected the like formula for that. And I think it's just a great use of genre and mashup and stuff like that. Like it's a slap
yeah,
ball.
I don't know. When did I see TT? I think it was in cinemas. I saw it again started this year. I don't know. It didn't wow me as much as I thought it would on rewatch. And I think I guess there's only so for me. There's only so much I can get out of a purely spectacle filmmaker. I feel like you can lump him in with like Nolan and Denis as well. I guess I have similar relationships with those guys, who I feel like a lot of the time are also purely spectacle filmmakers. Even
He
though I
has so
think
much more style than someone like Nolan or Denis.
I know. I was just about to say. I think Denis is kind of the weak spot in that. He Cameron does have more. He has stronger spectacle filmmaking than both of those, and I think all three of them are writing problems. Uh, for all sorts of different reasons. That is kind of three. It's kind of interesting to compare the three actually. Although I think like Tenet is like the best film of those filmographies, if we're being honest.
That is
Really?
absolutely ridiculous.
Tenet.
Tenet is the best film of those three filmographies.
Tenet is better than T2. You heard it here
Yes,
first.
it is. It is. Tenet is better than T2, better than anything Cameron and Denis have made. You heard it here first.
Interesting.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, maybe that's just me. But I don't know. I do want to see Cameron move. Oh no, what he's making that nuclear film, isn't he? He's making the.
Oh yeah, we're gonna see million.
Oh no,
bodies blown up.
Hiroshima. Oh, that's gonna be awful. That's gonna be biblical stinker. That film. That is gonna be so bad. The Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It's gonna be the most literal, brain dead piece of
Whoa,
historical
it's
cinema
too
you've
early
ever
to
seen.
game like this.
It's so obvious. It is going to be served up on a plate as being a massive misfire. It's just asking for it.
Is it
Okay,
the guy
maybe
that
make Avatar for it,
never
actually.
missed? The guy that's
It is a very weird choice for him to do. He just needs to do it tastefully.
he spoke to the guy on his deathbed.
He is
and
not going to do
promised
it
to make the film for
tastefully.
him.
He
Not
is
do it
not.
tasteful.
I think he will.
he-
I think he will.
This is
if
exactly
Nolan
I don't
why
think
Nolan-
I don't think showing the bomb is untasteful.
That's
this
really
is
what-
exactly why Nolan didn't show anything from the other side.
But Nolan's movie
It-
isn't about the bomb blowing up. It's about the
It's about the guy.
Oppenheimer side.
No, he could have done it, but it's exactly why he didn't. Because I know it's not about. Well, that's not necessarily tied to Oppenheimer, but I still think it is going to be pretty distasteful. It's not necessarily because I guess it's an American making it, but more because of
It's a
Cameron's
Canadian
style.
making it.
Canadian, sorry, but more because of Cameron's style of filmmaking and writing does not suit this topic whatsoever. And I cannot see it being good.
Yeah, it's an adaptation of a book. I'm pretty
He's-
sure it's the first time that
It
he's
is,
not
yes.
writing original material.
He comes across a bit of
Interesting.
a detail freak though, making his films. And I'm sure
He,
he'll.
he is a he
he'll
is a
recruit
detail
the
freak.
necessary. You can recruit advisors and stuff like this.
There's only so much that can.
I
do,
know,
I
but
think.
I think it will be bare minimum tasteful. I have faith that Cameron can do it tastefully. It's just the age old. Does it have anything to say that won't pass your test? Like what's the point of the story being told? But no, I think it'll be tasteful. I just
what
I'm kind of glad
what is
we
it
got a
actually
break
about?
in between.
About a guy who survived.
We meant to.
It was a man who was in Hiroshima and then he survived and then went to the second city that got bombed, Nagasaki, and then he survived that.
Is it actually a true
So-
story?
Yeah,
Or
it's
is
true.
it-
Yeah, the guy told him the story on his deathbed to James Cameron and promised they would.
Oh
tell his
damn!
story.
That kind of sounds even worse now. To be honest, I'm not gonna lie.
Does that sound
That
worse?
doesn't. I don't know. Yeah, we've detoured just massively for Avatar, but anyway. Yeah, Cameron is an interesting filmmaker. Someone who I don't really. I like him. I don't really love him though.
I'm same. I think I like him. I don't love him, but I'm always wanting to watch his films. Now I've got over the Avatar hump, like contrarianism.
What's his Piranha film? I'm trying to think. I've seen 8 of his films. Piranha 2.
Yeah, he
No,
didn't
it's like,
direct that one, so that's why I was saying it's his ninth feature film,
are you,
where it's
are you
technically his
sure?
10th. But yeah, he didn't. He got fired from it 2 weeks into it, and then they wouldn't remove his name, so he
I was
came in
about
to
to
try
say
and
his
like
name's
fix
on
it in the editing room. So
True Lies. I haven't seen True Lies either. But yeah,
yeah,
interesting.
back to Avatar. I mean that's not just him writing it. He has like a TV's writer room like on these movies now. I think he wrote the first one on his own maybe, but Wave Water and this have like a whole team of writers on this, so it's not just him making all the calls. I know people. Do you want to get into Spider because I feel like Spider's character's kind of linked to the writing criticisms here because I feel like
Mm.
his dialogue that people go for when they say his writing, I don't think they're really criticizing the world building or the a lot of the decisions there. I feel people mostly mean dialogue when they say writing's bad, and I think
Yeah.
Spider's probably the easiest like criticism there because I don't know. I feel like Jack Campion isn't. He's clearly the weakest part of the movie, but he's also at like a disadvantage instantly because I feel like the mocap performance can have this like barrier between you. If it's like
Mm.
giant Navi 10 foot blue person saying dialogue, that like Cameron's dialogue is like that kind of like sincerity that like Titanic and stuff like that. They would often get like made fun of, even though they're like a lot of those lines are like iconic now. There was a lot of criticisms when it came out. And his dialogue always gets that. But when you've got this like human person that's the only human person on screen saying it, it does come across differently. So he's kind of at like a disadvantage, I think. Just
Mm.
so I do feel bad for Jack Champion.
He's also a white guy in dreads.
Oh.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. It's been like two films that I just laugh every time. I just cannot get it out of my head. It's so.
yeah, he's
It's,
Tarzan.
He's got to blend into his surroundings.
oh dear.
Yeah, I don't know. I think people. This made me like question my media literacy skills because I went on Twitter and people were like, "This is the worst actor ever. This is like Jar Jar Binks." In the film. Like, okay, it's not that bad. It's like clearly the weak link, and I think
Hmm.
he's struggling in that scene where he's nearly killed by Jake. Yeah, that he did not sell that well. I don't think. He kind of like that kind of is a writing issue where he sort of like begs at first and then gives in really
Hmm.
quickly. I felt that scene was really awkward because there's an emotional bit with the Tulkun, who obviously aren't even people acting, which lands emotionally for me. But that the
Hmm.
scene with Jack Champion, where he's like expressing, I don't know, he didn't pull that off for me. But he's at such a, I feel sorry for him, like you said, because he got cast when he was really young. I'm pretty sure, and then he's having to like interact with all these people in mocap. It must feel like there's a
Well, he records
barrier.
it twice. He does it with mocap, and then there's also a different time where he records it, and it's like there's basically
Yeah.
nobody there.
Yes, it must be really like this is a long film and he's in like a lot of the film. It's like borderline main
Mhm.
character in most of it.
This is kind of his movie. This one,
Yeah.
what it turns into.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's awful. Like he didn't distract me, but he definitely is the weak link, and it didn't help that he's such a prominent
Mhm.
character in this one. It does make me wonder how far they're gonna go with him. If he's gonna take a backseat in the next one, or like Quaritch's dynamic with him is just gonna get deeper and deeper.
Please take a back seat. I will say this: he does get lost in this role. Like I see Jack Champion, I see Spider. I cannot see. I don't recognize him. It's really weird. It
Sure.
is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. If it. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know why. But is he American? I'm assuming he's American.
He is.
I think so. Yeah.
What else has he been in? Was he the guy in
He
the
was in the
Halloween End?
Scream. No, he was in
No, he was in
Scream
Scream. That was it.
6. I think.
Six. Yeah.
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 He was one of the killers, wasn't he? Was he one of the killers? I think
Spoiler
he
alert,
was.
but
He's
yeah.
in Freaky Tales, Oscar. You've seen that.
Oh, that film was awful. He was in Endgame. What?
He's not. He's like an extra. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah, he's not in it really.
He was a kid on a bike. Yeah.
Kid in the bike. Yeah.
Kid on a bike. Oh, what? The guy that goes up to Paul Rudd in like
Oh yeah, it might
after
be
he's.
that. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's crazy. That film sucks anyway.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say?
Yeah, I think it's interesting that did you not get emotionally affected by that scene when Jake Sully has to
No,
try and
I didn't.
kill? No.
More on more on Jake's end than on Spider's end, to be honest. Like Daniel said, I think it's a great scene from Jake's character, but I don't think
Yeah.
Spider's selling it enough. And yeah, the just the like you've been saying, the dynamic between the human and the Navi, it's weird, especially in that scene. Yeah, it just wasn't quite there. Um, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the film as a whole, it really feels like it's jumping all over, but in a way that almost feels like they're pulling out of scenes too quickly, and we're in another scene, and I don't know. It feels weirdly put together, and I don't. You know, like the big magnetic thing. Is that
Yeah.
in two?
No, this is introduced at the start
Yeah.
of the third one.
I was like, what is that?
Because
It's a naturally occurring thing. It's to
the
do with
magnetic thing.
the
Is it in
I've
the
seen
yeah. It's
previous
to do
one?
with
it's
Is it?
not.
no.
No, I just I
It's
didn't know what was happening.
yeah. So it's like a natural occurrence because the the baby calves are coming to meet like Awa for the first time.
Hmm.
So I think that just like spawns in as like an event
As a
of
set
like
piece,
nature.
like a convenience.
No, but it's no, but it's definitely the
I
start of the movie. Like it's quite funny that he just
it
doesn't
is.
explain it at the start.
Yeah, I was really confused. I generally thought I missed something because in the trailer I thought it was gonna be like some like explosion or something to do with like the core of the
Yeah.
planet or something, and that's like created this, but like no, it's just there. So yeah, I was definitely confused in that aspect. The interesting one we get those bits in like the massive built up human capital place, and like Cameron starts to take like a dig on like the digital kind of stuff. Everyone's all taking cameras and phones and things like that.
iPhone 45s.
Like iPhone 45s, yeah. It is, yeah. I guess it's somewhat of interest. This translation to a future distant planet. We get kind of those shots with the all the camera flashes going off in the background, which is yeah, I don't know. I think that scene is somewhat interesting, but yeah, I'm interested to see how they take that kind of dynamic further. Those like I guess like the population of humans that are there, because for the past couple of films we haven't really seen much from that side. Obviously, the kind of
Mm.
transition between Avatar and Human has been lost in that sense after the first film, and after the second one even more so. But yeah, I don't know. I was just intrigued by it.
Yep, I was rewatching the first one before this, and I'd forgot that like Earth is like this like cyberpunk world. Like it does just look
Mm.
like it looks like Blade Runner.
It was
Mm.
horrible.
I think it's yeah, I think it's mostly in the deleted scenes. So yeah, it was interesting seeing all the humans like on Pandora. It's quite Trumpian almost the way they're like treating Jake Sully as this like terrorist and like using it against him or towards the people in the like taking photos. It's very funny the way like the Quaritch and the Varang like relationship where he's like showing her off in that scene. It's I really love their relationship. Um, I think that is possibly the best like action set piece is when the Neytiri comes in and to save Jake and Varang like chases her like through the pipelines and just like underneath the
Mm.
city and stuff. I think that's a great set piece. Um, yeah, and I think that's when you get some of the best scenes of the Fire Clan. Like, I think you said like earlier when Quaritch walks in the full like makeup and everybody's just like disgusted with him. It's so funny. It's some of the best Quaritch moments in this section of the movie.
Yeah, he's
Very
also like
funny.
chilling in the camp with them, like in the actual sea as well. which is that stuff's good because it also implies like what Jake was talking about, like I said earlier, with the Na'vi human like conflict he's having, and obviously the ending points to that for his character in this film. We were talking about Jack Champion earlier. There's one scene that's really bugging me. I don't know if either of you noticed. There's a scene where Jake Sully's shouting like during a confrontation, and he's like clearly shouting in an Australian accent. And
Mm.
it
Which
was
scene is
really.
this?
I don't know if it's
Is it
there's two
the beach
scenes.
scene?
Yeah, he's in the like water area, and there's a confrontation. It might be before he gets arrested.
It is, yeah.
And yeah,
Oh
When there's a
yeah,
standoff on the
and
beach.
yeah,
it
the
just sounds like Sam
standoff.
Worthington. Like you just shouting Australian. It's so weird.
That doesn't put me off because Sam Worthington is Jake Sully to me. Like
He is,
I don't
but
associate him with
That's
like
the only
anyone
thing
else.
he has going for him.
Yeah,
Like, his
that's just like
career is his
that's
death
Jake
outside
Sully's
of
voice to me.
but Jake
So like,
Sully's
it didn't
voice
even
is
like recognize.
Jake Sully's voice
So-
is broad Australian in that scene. He's like
It's when he
slipping
gets angry.
Australian. I know it's so
Jake
weird.
Sully's voice is whatever Sam Worthington wants it to be in the moment. That's what it is.
Yeah, what's he gonna do for the next 4 years? Just go into like straight like
I wonder how much he makes off these
oh,
films.
so much money. He just
Probably
I think
so
he's actually.
much.
I seen an interview where he said he's done like 38 projects or something in between Avatar movies. Like somehow, it feels like he's been in nothing. Yeah.
It's got to be some like straight to streaming DTV, something like that.
Well, he was kind
surely.
of being pushed as like a guy after it. He was in like the Terminator sequels.
yeah, they're trying the best to turn him into like an action.
Right,
what
let's
it
have a
is.
look. I
Yeah.
want. I'm going on his filmography. I want to see.
Um,
Sort by
Matt Damon won like
release
10%
date.
the box office if he got it. And
Cameron said that's not even true. Apparently.
oh,
Okay,
really?
so since Way of Water, he's been in Lift, which is a Netflix film. Yeah, he was in Horizon, and he's done Horizon Chapter 2 as well. But that just doesn't exist now.
Oh.
Do you remember they were going to release it a month after the first, and they just haven't released it since. So, like, it's been in like 2 festivals, and just he was in The Exorcism last year, the one with Russell Crowe.
Oh, Pope Sexist.
He was in
No, it's just called The Exorcism.
Oh, right.
Oh, I did see that actually. Yeah, it's a movie
Yeah.
that was.
What is Russell Crowe?
They filmed half of it before COVID, and then they only finished it because The Pope's Exorcist was done well in the box office. So they went back and finished it because he was in it.
And he was in John Woo's remake of his own film, The Killer.
It's not a great one.
Which is interesting. Yeah, and I'm looking at his run between Avatar and Thing, and it's like Wrath of the Titans, Clash of the Titans, Everest is like the only notable things. Hacksaw Ridge is like the only notable things I can see on here. Which is kind of sad. Oh, Fractured, that never.
I don't think Matt Damon was even like close to being the finalist. I think Chris Pratt was one of them.
Oh, that would
And Channing Tatum was in the final 3 as well.
trying to say it would be interesting.
Yeah. But I'm glad Sam Worthington got it because, like I said, he's just like
He just is
he's
Jake.
Jake Sully. Yeah.
You don't see him in like anything.
Yeah, it'd be weird if Jake Sully was like a movie star outside of Avatar.
That is
yeah.
When is the next one
think-
scheduled to release? Is it 4 years?
29.
No, that's
Been
Avatar
3 since
5,
the
I
last.
think.
No, it's not. No,
Is
no,
it?
it is. Daniel's right, I think. When is 5?
it?
Is 5? I swear 5 is like 31.
I
Maybe
think it's
31,
another
yeah.
2-year gap or whatever. Yeah, 31. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite scenes is it's right after you see the Wind Traders like ship go down. Which, by the way, I think that's actually one of the saddest moments in the movie because you have that like animal
Oh,
thing
the
at the front
creature
that
getting
gets-
dragged.
yeah, it gets
that
pulled
was
down. Like
tough.
nobody saves it. But right after that, it's when Loak like goes over with the sniper and he's looking at them like scalping the Navi, which is like that is one of the things that's on like kind of there's a lot of like moments in this where he's like, how is he getting away with this for a PG-13 movie? And that's one of them where like the fact of like the actual like what's happening is like scalping. It's not bad on camera, but like that really is like the thought of like what she's doing to them, where they can't like meet their ancestors in the afterworld
Yeah,
is like
brutal.
worse than death. Like it's really bad, like what's actually happening, but it's not like lots of blood or anything that would like put you above the rating.
I mean,
Um,
he does the thing with the token that's like absolutely battered and has no eyes, and it just looks horrible. It's
yeah,
like brutalized, but then
it's also
obviously
like
that gets its revenge.
yeah.
It does.
Loak like also almost kills himself in the movie,
Oh
which
yeah,
is like kind of bordering on like how is he getting away with
what about that?
a child
Loak.
almost shooting
Who's
himself?
Loak again?
The
I
He
keep
son.
is
forgetting.
Jake Sully's son.
Remember,
Oh
he gets
yeah.
the big rifle and he points at his chin. I'm like, oh my god, this is dark.
The memes I keep on seeing the Navi, the water tribe one, the sun with the hair, and I keep seeing those memes like the Photoshop John Bernthal. It's just like the guy with all the curly hair on, like the skin thing,
Oh, yeah.
and it's so funny. It keeps on making me laugh. But yeah, I don't even know their names, to be honest. I'm not even trying to do the gimmick of nobody knows the characters' names in Avatar, but I cannot remember the names of
I just know
the
them because I've
water
watched
tribe
Avatar 2
stones.
so many
No,
times at this point.
I could name the family now. I'm like a true Avatar.
Nice.
Oh, congratulations! Congratulations.
It now has cultural impact. Daniel knows the names.
Oh dear, Daniel's the
Um,
test.
Do we want ice people in Avatar 4 then? That's what people are saying.
I want a snow
Ooh,
clan. I
Snow
need it. I
a
Clan.
need a
snow
Christmas Avatar movie.
clan. Christmas. That is interesting. Trying to think what else they could do.
Underground.
And like the 5-year-olds that keep on bringing it back to Avatar: The Last Airbender, like give her a break, man. That show's for children. Please, like, oh, this stuff from Avatar, like nobody cares. I don't even adore these films as many a lot of people do, but
It kind
please,
of
nobody
ruins
cares.
that in like the first 10 minutes. Like people would always joke that he would do like fire, then wind, then like
I
ice. But, like
know.
he does wind in like the first 10 minutes of this movie. Kind of combines fire and
David
water.
Thewlis, just no screen time, which is
Oh
kind
yeah,
of sad. Um,
the most like unique
uh,
face ever.
he does, and especially in this. I did kind of want to see more of him. The voice sounded quite interesting, the interaction between the two. I would have liked to have seen more of that, but yeah, we just didn't, which kind of sucked.
We didn't. We haven't went into the fact that there's a whale courtroom scene in this.
That is
Um,
that is one of my
between
favorites. Oh,
my boy Paya Khan's been like done dirty against the elder whales, and
What,
the
like,
like she like
sorry, but like
split.
the piercings, like
that was
how
really annoying me. Yeah,
I
that was annoying me.
Yeah,
I hate to do those kind of nitpicks. Like, how does this happen? But it was like, what is going on? Like, how does this
but
Or
work?
they're smart. They're smarter than Navi people. I'm very sure.
No, but they don't have hands or thumbs, like or like things to puncture.
They
Like
get it
maybe I'm
done.
wrong.
I
They
don't know.
obviously, but and the one cool thing,
Oh,
like when they speak, the water, like the ripple effects, that's really cool. And the sound, I really like that. But yeah, that was taking me out. Kind of like, how are they getting these piercings?
I love how they stand upright, they're like big monoliths. It's really
they're
Mm.
massive. They're
they
like 500 times bigger than Paya Khan, and he was massive into like.
No, I love
I think
Pike.
like the elder one takes out one of those ships in like one go. It's
Yeah, one of the giant
Steel's
battleships.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was like the Tulkun scene is like good, hype moments and aura done well. Like that was cathartic. Yeah. Oh, and the squid things are cool as well.
I was just about to mention that.
I liked
Uh,
those.
I was like, if we're talking like good spectacle filmmaking in this, the scenes where it's like riding the massive waves in the storm, that's really cool. And I guess like the squid bit, but it's like a kind of a bit of a rehash of the bit where we first see Hyakan in 2. Is it? I think is that it?
I don't
Is
see it.
it where they're kind of going? He goes in the
Oh
rocks.
yeah.
Is it on?
That
Oh
was
no, it's
different. That
maybe
was
something
different
else.
fish. but yeah,
It was different fish,
That-
but yeah, like
yeah.
hiding in the rocks. But like, the squid are kind of cool. But yeah,
I think the squid are more like connected to Awa, like they only show up when
yeah.
it's like her presence, something
Mm.
like that.
There's some brutal
Yeah, because
stuff
they're like
going on with those squids in the background, by the way. Like, if you look at the humans, like you were saying, he gets away with stuff. If you look in the background, there's people being torn apart by those things. No, yeah, the wildlife and stuff in Pan- I don't know what you call the flying things. But those are cool as well.
that's the one thing I don't know. I can't remember what they're
yeah. Oh, that's, and they're in like every film.
Oh.
That's bad. Oh,
called. I know Turok when he
yeah.
becomes Turok Makto at the end. That's a cool moment.
Mm.
But yeah, I think the subplot when like Payakan gets like sent off back to like his like home tribe and he goes out to like reconnect with him. I feel like in first watch that kind of felt separated from everything else. But on rewatch it kind of connected. That was what really kind of connected together because it does connect the whole kind of final fight or whatever when they're all coming into the for the what's it called when all the calves are like coming in to meet Ewa for the first time.
Yeah.
I can't remember the word they used for it, but yeah,
I can't
whenever they're
remember.
coming in. But yeah,
I
I feel like it was like everybody's arcs are kind of like almost separated, but they're like I said in my review, it was like they're all kind of learning to fight for what they love by the end. I think Varang's like whole kind of like fuck Ewa like narrative kind of plays quite into where with that because there's so many characters in this that are kind of like fighting with their belief for Awa, even though like she's like that's what like 100% real thing in this world. Like God just says like there's like proof that she's real, but like it's interesting that people still like don't believe in her. And I like the arcs of like Natiri, and Kiri, like even like questioning their own kind of faith because the way Ava like doesn't come in to like help them when they say like somebody's gonna die or like they're like dealing with the death of their brother, but like why didn't they like come in to save if there's like this actual like proof of this god being in the world?
Yeah, I
Um,
guess.
I forgot the first. I love the like opening scene of this, where it's Loak and his like brother, like
Oh
flying
yeah.
together. I genuinely think like the fact, just like the idea in this world that like they can like talk to their loved ones is like kind of like one of the coolest things in like science fiction that's like been done. Like that's like such a like interesting idea. The fact they can just connect with their loved ones, through Awa. But yeah, I think that's the way that this movie kind of connects all together by the end. Like Jake becoming Tarok Makto again, and like deciding that he has to fight for his family. Um, get convincing the whales that they need to fight and to protect their family. And that's the way all these subplots kind of come in together by the end. It also just didn't feel like a barrage of like these million things throwing at you on second watch. You just kind of you were more familiar with like spatial what was happening. I think at least for me when I rewatched it, it's a bit overwhelming on the first watch because, like I said, that final fight is like 100 times like scaled to like everything else in like Avatar 1 and 2. Um, yeah, I just I ended up loving it. Still kind of anticlimactic for Quaritch and Varang, I'd say, because Varang just kind of disappears. I thought there would be like a fight, like a definitive
I
fight between her
agree.
and Thierry that they were kind of setting up.
Yeah,
Uh,
they were definitely setting that up.
yeah, but I do like what's probably going to happen in 4 because I guess um our tentacles connected, so she's like been given proof that Awa does
Oh
exist. So like
yeah, that's
so I
true.
think there'll be some interesting stuff with her character in 4. I do appreciate how I mean I think of like Stranger Things whenever they bring in like a new character and like you know they're gonna kill them in like that season. It's kind of like that if you were just gonna bring in somebody and kill them in a movie. I do like how James Cameron does like keep people around and develop them across multiple movies, and I feel like that doesn't really happen like in anything else now.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm intrigued to see what he's going to do for. I hope we do somewhat move away from this. I don't know, but I saw a tweet was like, we should have a snow tribe with Toronto accents.
That would be
That's
great.
so, that is so funny. But yeah, I like the scene where Quaritch goes to the camp and he's like, I can kill anyone in a moment. He's like, just points to the guy next to him and just instantly dead. It just gets sniped out of nowhere.
Yeah, and the delayed sound
that's-
of the sniper.
He
Yeah.
calls it thunder,
Um,
doesn't he? And lightning.
Thunder, yeah, I guess the concept of metal is alien to the Ash Clan, and just guns in general is interesting. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think that was when like Una Chaplin's performance is like so amazing. That first scene when she gets a flamethrower and she's just like laughing, like it's just like an evil villain. And the fact the power that she's about to get. I think her like physical performance is like actually like one of the best motion capture performances I've seen. It's very clear that she's the granddaughter of Charlie Chaplin because I feel it's just like in every scene she's kind of like just like, got like such great screen presence. So I'm excited to see her in the next movie. Anything else? I hope we get to see Winfleet, like the guy that's with Courage that like shoots the guy when she's at her camp. I hope we get to see some
Ooh, yeah.
conclusion with
Like
him.
his sidekick kind of guy.
Yeah, I want to see a
That's
conclusion with
interesting.
him in the next movie.
Mm.
Where does this rank in James Cameron for you then?
I think it might be his worst film, honestly. I'm trying to think, do I have anything lower? No, I don't think so.
Well, I don't think that's slander. So I like.
I probably consider it is worse as well. That's because I'm not counting Titanic. 'Cause I've not seen it in ages. Terminators are better than it. It's not his worst. I like it more than the other two Avatars. Um, yeah, it's like the best Avatar is for me, but it's not the best. It's like below
Interesting.
everything else.
But you haven't
Aliens.
seen Wave Water and 3D. You've not
Yeah,
connected
but
with Aloy properly.
I have seen Avatar at home as well, and I like Avatar, so I don't know what happened. But
Mm,
yeah, best Avatar right now for me, but Aliens is still my favorite by distance.
I respect that. I mean, it's almost my bottom, I guess, as well. Because I do love all these movies. True Lies is like definitely my least favorite. It's not at the bottom, but yeah. Between Avatar 1 and 3 is like close for me, but like Wave Water is like definitively my favorite Avatar. And yeah, my kind of top 3 Camerons locked. It's like Wave Water, Titanic, and T2 is up there.
It's probably going to make a lot of money. I don't know. Will it
is.
make 2 billion? The first weekend was not as good as Avatar 2, but it's looking like the second weekend is meant to be a less of a drop than Avatar 2's second
Mhm.
weekend was. So we will see.
Yes, it's Christmas coming up, so I know in the US,
True.
Christmas Day is like a huge. I think it's one of the
Movie
biggest days in the
day.
box office, possibly. I don't know if that's a
Yeah, they always
real
consider
Mighty
it.
statistic.
Supreme, though.
Mark
Yeah,
Supreme is.
I don't know if Mark
Is
Supreme
that
is going to be a juggernaut taking away money from Avatar, but hope.
true?
But yeah, that is our Avatar review. Um, like we just said, Mark Supreme. We will be doing a Mark Supreme review coming soon. So yeah, like and comment, and we'll be back next week for something different.